You're listening to My Grito Podcast Network, celebrating the culture of Chicanos and Latinos one story and voice at a time. Listen to more My Grito Podcast Network shows over at mygrito.net. Connect on social, on Instagram and Facebook at My Grito, the My Grito Podcast Network.
The Mind Buzz, now partnered with My Grito Industries.
3, 2, 1. Matt and Juju, how are you?
Doing good, man.
Thanks for coming out and doing this.
Yeah,
Thanks for having us. It's great to meet you both. Jinx.
Glad to be here, yeah.
So, you know what's wild? Other than Wild Wild Country, you guys having a song being featured in that Netflix special. That was pretty wild.
Well, we didn't have a song featured. We just played. We just played on the soundtrack.
Oh, cool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Played on the soundtrack. Well,
Like
so
I
what would
played,
be the...
It was kind of actually just a funny night. I mean, really, what happened, as fancy as it sounds.
Walk me through it.
First, I poured myself a glass of whiskey.
There you go.
Then I got really stoned. Then I plugged in my guitar and we recorded a bunch of stuff, whatever was sent over. The fun thing is that it's so sporadic. Like he just kind of like hits us up. The guy that we work with, you know, he'll just hit us up like middle of the night, midnight. And we have to have the tracks in before the next day and stuff like that, you know. So there's interesting like time constrictions and stuff, you know.
We were working with the composer for
Yeah.
did the music for Wild Wild
okay.
Country, that's what he's talking about.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So he like makes the music and then like requests stuff from us. So like for Wild Wild Country, I don't know if you didn't sing on that one, right?
Not that one, yeah. I wasn't on that one, but you did.
I did guitar work for it, but it was literally just like the song would be sent over and he would be like, I want like acoustic guitar strumming on this one. Or like, can you play a bunch of like, you know, spacey melodies over this one? So hence the smoking up and then turning on the reverb and the delay pedals and go for it. But yeah, so that was the process for that one.
Yeah,
much.
you guys have very interesting, the music and the vibe. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just feel super zen type of jazzy, psychedelic. It's amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, I encourage everybody to go listen to it right now. But after this interview conversation, but so originally you guys started playing in California and then moved out to Austin?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Both of us were born in California, her northern. And I was born in like the Valley, like Northridge area. It was Northridge Hospital, baby.
I was born in San Jose. So my family's still up there, yeah.
Okay. So how did you guys converge with your creative selves?
Long story.
Yeah, how far should we go back?
Yeah, how far? Because we actually met when I was 11 years old and she was 9.
Whoa. Okay.
So it goes pretty far back.
Wow. Okay.
She lived across the street from like one of my best friends growing up. But you moved down to California when you were like 8, right?
Yeah, my family, I still have family.
Cheers,
that
by the way.
Yeah.
Cheers.
I tried this peanut butter
There you go.
whiskey.
We're not going to get on your case right now.
Yeah, is it bad luck?
Oh, that is good.
You guys tell me.
No, you're good. You're good.
It's good? It's really good,
It
right?
was really good. Yeah, so I was
Rub
born
it in.
in
Just rub it in.
Amazing. So much better than water.
yeah, I was born up north, and then my family and we moved down when I was about 8, I think, down to Thousand Oaks area. I don't know if you guys know where that is, but it's like the suburbs of LA. But in that neighborhood, our neighbors that we were good friends with, that was like his best friend. So they were like the skater kids and just hanging out around town. And I was 9, he was 11. And so
She was in like a sister group. She has 3 other sisters that also sing.
Oh.
And when they were younger, they had like this whole group. They were called C4 because they were the bomb because it was the 90s.
So that's how we originally met. And then we met later on, years later. I think we were like in our early 20s.
Yeah.
We met again.
We met again. We were hired to do this Halloween show thing. And it was actually pretty cool. It was like this like big like haunted house where, you know, like the guests would come through and they'd walk through the whole haunted house. And then at the end, you like walked into this big like concert hall thing.
Oh.
And then we were playing like anything that had to do with Halloween, like Dead Man's Party or like Werewolves of London or whatever.
Black Sabbath.
Yeah, Black Sabbath, like just wide range of music, but anything that could be taken as Halloween. And then we met on that, and then your band was falling apart, right?
Yeah. And so you filled in. We were playing the House of Blues in LA, which is no longer there. But we had a show there, and he filled in, and we started playing together. And then after that, we just totally hit it off. And so
I was band sledding at the time. I was playing in like
Band sledding.
Yeah, I was in like
right.
8 bands or something like
Can
that.
we Google that? That's
Is that an official term?
Is that?
What's the Urban Dictionary? Right?
See what comes up for band slut.
Just a picture of Matt right there. This, ladies and gentlemen.
so we started making music together, and then it's been like 11 years now. Been making music together.
Wow.
Really? Wow.
And we just we had a few different projects together, and then with this last project, well, through COVID, we kind of had some transitional stuff, like everybody, and then it led us out to Austin, and we went out there. I think we were out there for like 14 months.
Yeah, a bit over a year.
Yeah,
In Austin.
and made an album out there, and then we just moved back.
Nice.
So that was our first time living out of California.
Welcome back.
Yeah, we were in California.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
How long were you in Austin for? How was that like?
So it was a little over a year, and I mean, it was amazing. It was so cool. It was such a switch up, you know what I mean? And Austin's beautiful. Have you ever been there?
I have not, no.
Okay, so it's like this like really cool juxtaposition of like city, like this like little like miniature San Francisco almost or something, right? Like with like the tall buildings and the kind of like close, everyone's walking around the city and stuff. But there's a river that runs right through it. So we should pull up a picture of that at some point.
I
But
have it, yeah.
I can pull it up too.
Okay, cool.
but it's beautiful, and
We're looking up Austin, right?
Yeah, Austin.
Yeah.
Just like the main city, like downtown. And it's actually the Colorado River that goes right through the city. So you'll be going to like Whole Foods, and people are just like kayaking and just and it's all around you, and it's really beautiful.
Yeah, you drive over the river almost like every day. I mean, at least we were really close to the downtown area.
And we're not used to that. Like every time we've gone to rivers, it's always been like out in the
Middle of nowhere or something,
yeah.
right?
So it was really cool to have the city back going like that.
And it was cool too because when we were recording out there, anytime we needed a break, it was like, well, let's go get stoned by the river. Have some beers by the river. Like it was just the coolest. And the people there are amazing. I mean, there's so many nice people, and just like, I mean, the whole town's stoned, and and like so. And there was some cool stuff that
It's kind of like Venice.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, we just moved to the
Home
Texas
sweet home.
Venice. Yeah.
The Texas Venice. I like that.
And we saw some cool stuff. There was this one spot right out, like kind of in the middle of the river, where everyone would gather up, kind of every day, but also like every like weekend. It was big. There'd be like hundreds of people out there. One of the days we went out, people had built a stage on kayaks, and there was actually live bands in the middle of the river playing.
That was really fun.
And we were like, "That's."
Is there?
That's special.
I gotta see this. Is there like?
I don't even know if there's stuff. We have a
pictures of
video
this?
of it we can show you. But
Yeah.
that we took, but.
Oh, okay. That's probably.
Yeah, there's really cool events like
Yeah?
constantly happening. I mean, so much live music, and then we got to live
Every
there
night of the
during
week,
like
yeah.
South by and stuff, and just see the. Have you ever? Have you? Like you said, you haven't been to Austin, but we heard about South by. We've known a bunch of bands.
I'm Mexican, and I barely went to TJ like 2 weeks ago. Yeah.
How was
to
that?
give you a perspective of my traveling days.
Hey, but you went halfway around the world in November.
Yeah.
He's
Uh,
starting.
it was- It was just Japan. That was it.
That's far though. I haven't been to Japan. That's insane.
My first time out of the country, and she picked Japan.
Wow.
That was my first time having a passport and everything.
Wow.
Nice. So what
Yeah.
was the inspiration for Japan? Was that
That was Amber, right? Her family. She was like, her family was like, "Hey, we're going to Japan for
10 days.
10 days. You want to go? All right, I'll go."
okay? So it wasn't like an extreme love of like sushi or something like that. You weren't like
No, it wasn't on my. I've traveled to other countries. It wasn't on my list. It was just kind of like, hey, we're going. You want to go? We're like,
Yeah.
Okay.
But now I highly, highly, highly recommend it, and I want to go back. There's
Wow, okay.
so much to see, so much to do. It's amazing. That's all
Very
I'm gonna
cool.
say.
Yeah, I felt like I missed a few things. I want to go back. But the cool thing was, like, I'm a big fan of the psychobilly culture.
Yeah.
And there's this club over there down in the basement called Club Heavy Sick. And we went to go to a gig down in the basement, and we seen the Cyclops, where they are pretty much like a big psychobilly band in the Japanese psychobilly like circle culture. And that was pretty cool too.
That's
That
awesome.
is super cool.
Yeah.
I fucking love that there's so much music out there, that there's like a Japanese psychobilly culture.
Yeah.
That's like, that's, yeah.
There's a Japanese Chicano culture also in Japan as well. They love lowriders. They love tacos. They love the Chicano culture, the cholo look, the bald head. We were just watching what documentary were we watching that they were talking about that at the end of the documentary?
I can't remember what it's called, but it's about like these two famous. One's a tattoo artist, and the other one is
It's about Mr. Cartoon and I forgot the other
I
guy.
think his name is like Esteban or something like that.
Yeah.
And how influential they were here in LA on like the scene. So they were with like Cypress Hill and
shit.
Eminem and like
50 Cent.
Yeah, and he says, he's like, there was this like one day we were on Skid Row, smoking with, a homeless person. He's like, and then at 5:00 we were at the Ritz-Carlton tattooing Eminem, or somebody else. Like it was really cool to see that.
Some serious contrast there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely. We're like, damn. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, but yeah, it's super rich in their own culture, and they're super fascinated with American culture. We tried to purchase like T-shirts or hats that said Japan on it, but we found nothing. We found New York. We found shirts with like written New York on it, or like Detroit or Los Angeles or Dodger hats out there, and
Said Japan.
yeah, nothing said Japan. It didn't. Like maybe the tags had
Did you
Japanese
ask?
on there.
Did you get funny looks or anything when you asked?
Did we even ask?
We didn't. We used our translator. So we bought a shirt, really funny for we bought a shirt as a souvenir, and we're like, oh, this looks cool. And then it supposedly said what it said, and then we brought it back, and then we translated it on our phone, and it was something completely different.
Oh, really?
We didn't give it to the person we were supposed to give it to because we were embarrassed. I was like, yeah, no, we're not.
The Mind Buzz is powered by Mind Buzz Media. Mind Buzz Media is an on-site video and audio podcast production company. Have you ever thought about starting your own video and audio podcast? Or do you have an existing podcast that you want to take to the next level? Mind Buzz Media brings a professional podcast studio to you. Visit mindbuzz.org for more. Yeah, there was. I also got another T-shirt that said, I don't know what it said exactly, but it had like a wheat plant on it, and it looked like the Adidas logo. It looked pretty cool, but I can't remember what it's supposed to say on there. Yeah, and I'm afraid to look.
Yeah.
I haven't worn the
Now
shirt.
that you found out the other one, you're like,
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't know. I don't know.
Live in bliss.
Right on, but yeah, the super awesome place to visit.
That's really cool.
Nice.
Yeah, how was the food out in Austin?
It's good. It's what was I gonna say? It's like, okay, so like the Mexican food's very cheese heavy out there. Can't be. I feel like we were a little like LA's got better Mexican food.
Is
Yeah.
it
It's
like
like,
yellow cheese heavy?
yeah,
Yeah.
all the Tex-Mex stuff is very like.
Yeah.
I always am like, is it yellow cheese?
Black beans or pinto beans?
Do you remember that? I don't know.
I think both. I just remember everything was fried. Like just fried and
there's that too.
barbecued.
It was like the LA County Fair, just everything deep fried and bad.
Yeah, and
Like-
there's this place we really liked called Gordo's, and it was literally like everything. Like if you got a burger, it was like on a donut bun, like
Oh,
a
wow.
donut bun. And then if you got
Yeah.
chili, like they give you like a donut with it.
Salad, donut.
Yeah.
Whoa.
And everything was fried, and everything's very heavy, and yeah, it was really good. It's just it was so different than like a lot of the food was so different than California food. And everything was barbecued. Like, I mean, the barbecue was insane though. Like I don't think we've ever had barbecue like that anywhere else. Like
That was a
pretty
big highlight,
amazing.
was how amazing the barbecue was,
Yeah,
for sure.
like it actually melted in your mouth.
Whoa.
You know, like you
Yeah, like I was like, I've heard that phrase my whole life. Like every guy who's
Yeah.
standing by their barbecue was like, yeah, when I cook it, fuck, there you got the big talk or whatever, you know. And I was like, it's always kind of like, you're like, yeah, great, it's awesome, it's good. And then like, but like in Texas, we were like, holy shit, I think that's what they mean. I think that's what they think about what they're doing.
You're like, well, that's what it is.
Yeah.
That's cool.
and cider out there. We had like there's cider and CBD products like everywhere because
Really?
weed is still a felony. think
Yeah, I
it's
was
still
gonna
a
ask.
felony out there.
I was gonna ask, what's
Yeah.
the status out there with cannabis?
It's they
Not
have like
good.
Delta.
Yeah.
Yeah, not good.
Not
They
good.
have, like,
Going to
Delta
prison
8,
for
yeah.
30 years. That's
Yeah.
the status.
Yeah, and it's like Delta 8, Delta 9, HHC. They have all these like cousins of weed, and all
Oh.
these like edibles that are like it's better than the real thing kind of thing. It's just like
You're like, no, it's
no,
not.
Yeah, all the
Sorry,
marketing,
Italians.
right?
But they just like take just enough molecules out of the whatever to like make it legal.
That is
So it's
so
like-
weird that they can do that,
Yeah.
you know?
It's weird. It's like the like paranoid, like headache, like all the worst parts of being stoned. It's like it's kind of crazy. We tried to like kind of like trick ourselves and be like, this is cool, this is fine.
Really?
And then we got like, I think we had like a friend visited from like somewhere else and like got us stoned, and we were like, oh shit. Like,
Yeah, we had forgotten, Or we played a couple gigs out there where people had weed, and we were like, so
This is
deprived. We were
weird.
like,
Yeah.
it
Kind
was
of vibe, yeah.
it was great though, because like you take like a hit, and it was just like your whole body was just like, and you were like, no fucking way, this is what we've been missing.
What?
Yeah, it was.
What is this? And I'm probably gonna sound naive because I'm not like I don't smoke weed or anything like that. I have, and it's just not for me. But what to you? Like, what's the difference between maybe making music on either like weed or mushrooms, if you do, or anything, right? What's the difference between that versus being like completely like stone cold, like
Ooh.
nothing in your system?
I feel like what I like about we just did a track the other night where I actually ate a little bit of mushrooms and like did some stuff because we were specifically doing this guitar part on one of our brand new songs that's on the next thing that we're going to be doing. But this idea of the part is there's like a clean guitar melody. And then I have alongside it, I played another clean guitar melody with this really cool delay pedal effect where it kind of like the delay kind of like comes a little bit after the actual melody. So it's just creates this really cool thing. I don't know how else to explain it. But to me, it kind of gave me this feeling of like when you're on like mushrooms or acid or something like that, and like you kind of like see little streams coming, like if someone moves quick and you see kind of like
Yeah, you see that little
blurry-
trail.
Yeah, the little
Right.
trail. And I was like, that's what this part reminds me of. So I was like, there's no way I can do this like stone cold sober. I'm trying to like really get into the part here. But I think sometimes like I wouldn't say that like you can't do it without or something like that. It's just sometimes fun and it inspires different things. It kind of might make you go for something that maybe you wouldn't when you're totally sober. For me, when I'm totally sober and I record, I always try and do a really good job. Okay. And sometimes that can be boring. Just doing a really good, what is it like? One of this guy that we played with, he used to play with all these old blues guys, and he said he played, I think it was, I might be doing this wrong, but I think it was Little Walter. Remember when Stanley was saying this? And he goes, you can't sell no perfect record, and like, I believe that, you got to have a little wrong in there, you know what I mean? And so like sometimes when I'm sober, I just do, I think I try and do too good of a job, and then it can become stale. What do you think?
Yeah, I was gonna say that. I feel like, we took some time off kind of drinking and then being in Austin, like from smoking and stuff, just kind of like when we were making this last record. And it was really nice to, because like some previous stuff we did, we got kind of used to like drinking some whiskey or some beer. It was kind of just like a regular thing. And I don't know, I felt like we kind of both were like, we wanted to kind of like reset with that a little bit, and like being like totally sober and making some music and stuff was like a cool experience too, to just kind of like let yourself kind of, I think like what you're saying, like where you kind of try and do a really good job and you kind of like overthink it and you kind of get like a little bit maybe too serious about it and forget like some of the artistic, like just letting yourself be and letting it kind of happen. You kind of like, and I think that was kind of cool to feel that. And then to like there were certain nights where we were like, okay, let's just like, I'm trying to remember that, like that one night when I was Take Me Away, when we like drank that, what was that drink that we drank? And I didn't know it had like some stuff in it. I don't know.
It was some like cannabis infused something or whatever, right?
And it was like the Delta 8 thing or whatever. So it wasn't like, it was like a weird feeling, like high or whatever. But like it totally, I was like trying to record vocals one night because we record our album.
And you weren't expecting it.
I wasn't expecting it at all. And I was like, I need to get these done tonight. So I just like went down the rabbit hole with it. But what it did, because I've been singing my whole life. I've been singing since I was like 2 years old. And so when I'm recording vocals, that's like my first, obviously, instrument and everything. I feel, or I do call it an instrument. Yeah. But it's where I feel the most comfortable. But I also like, it's hard for me to, I think, sometimes forget about like certain techniques and just like trying to like to sing and just like letting myself just be in it and just feel it and like really like let myself go, you know, and just kind of forget that I'm like how to sing and just like, you know, kind of get into it in this like kind of deeper way. And so like, I think sometimes when I'm like, I think more if I have like a hit or something or just a little, just like stoned. I think I've never recorded on shrooms before. I don't know what that would be like, or acid or something. But I feel like being stoned, particularly because it just kind of gets, I'm more like sensitive to like certain things, are just kind of, my brain just thinks a little bit differently. And like that one night was really cool because I started doing all these like kind of weird like runs and shows and stuff that like I let my voice kind of do things that maybe I would have been a little bit like apprehensive to do because I was like, I don't know if I'm
almost like too safe or something.
Too safe, and I let myself just kind of do it, and I didn't even really think about it, and like it came out. I mean, I was really excited about that because it was just something that I wouldn't have naturally done, and I was just kind of like wasn't even really thinking. So I don't know. It's
in
really
that particular
nice.
song that she's talking about, "Take Me Away," it's off the album. There's a really killer part in the song where like the drums like cut out for it's just like a second and the music kind of stops and there's like this vocal note that carries through and it's badass. Like she like I heard it from the other room in the take and I like came in right afterwards and I was like, that was fucking good. Like remember that take, you know, because she got like all raspy, like almost like Janis Joplin or something like that, you know, and like she's got a very like beautiful, clean, jazzy voice and stuff. And I always like, I love those moments where she like lets herself get kind of like wild and stuff, you know? And it's like, I feel like, yeah, that was like during that night, huh? Like when you like,
accidentally
got a little wacky and it's like, then it becomes really good.
I almost was like, I can't do it tonight. And he's like, no, just go try, just see what happens, you know? And so that's really cool. But I also love actually being like stone cold sober too and recording because I think that it like, if you get frustrated or you get like, you know, upset about something or you can't get through like a certain problem you're having or whatever, like just dealing with those emotions and just like being like 100% like aggravated till you figure it out, you know? Sometimes when you're drinking a little or smoking a little, it's kind of like, it's fine, we'll figure it out, it's all good. And sometimes that relaxed, and, you know, it's like certain times, you know, it's really cool.
That makes me think of like, it's like I think that depends on the part of the process then.
Yeah.
Because like, yeah, like maybe like, on a part of like putting the song together as far as like the structure and stuff like that, that might be a little cooler, like if you're like sober and you're getting clever or something, right? And you're kind of putting together this stuff and like, you know, maybe even just like seeing, you're not just excited, you know, you kind of like, I like to maybe like some of our more like successful feeling things are when we get the song to a certain place and then, you know, we're not like writing the song anymore. We're just performing it. And then when you're just performing it, then it's cool to like kind of like let loose and like let it be more of like a performance. And, you know, like for instance, like we're very influenced and inspired by a lot of like old blues records and stuff like that. And like all those old blues records, the producers were having those guys like come, like go into the studio right when they're getting off stage. So it's like fucking like 2, 3 in the morning, and they've been drinking, they're fucking been playing all night, and they were like, we want that. We don't want your like, got you up at 9 in the morning like version of yourself. We want you like just fired up off stage. Yeah. Like, screw that.
Like after you drink coffee and trying to record, it's really hard.
Very anxiety and inducing.
Yeah. So it's nice. Like sometimes the other night on this new one we're working on, it was like, I don't know, I had a hard time kind of like doing this certain thing I was trying to achieve with the vocals, and then it was like, wasn't until like, was it 4 a.m. or something, and I had taken some like melatonin to like fall asleep and like smoked a little, whatever. I was like so like just like tired and loopy, and like just like kind of finally just able to just be like and like get into it. And then I like sang through the song, and I was like, oh man, there it is. That was what I needed, that apparently, to just kind of settle in. So I don't know, it's always like it's interesting. I feel like certain parts of the process are really cool to experiment with that, and then certain times it's like really nice to just be like sober and just like
it's like there's these two avenues that you go through. So like your brain, right? So like one part of the brain is like your creative brain, and then the other part is like your editor brain, your scholastic type of brain, to where most of the art is coming through the creative brain. But I mean, also where the editor brain comes in is like your knowledge, your experience, and like where to piece things together. Yeah. I've considered like in writing that always happens. Like I read a book called, what is it called? Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. And she has this concept, Anne Lamott. No, Anne Lamott has Bird by Bird. But anyways, they have this thing, even in comedy writing too, that I studied, that every morning or whenever you write, you just write, even if it's funny, if it's not funny, or even, and just get it out on paper, right? That's your clown brain, or your creative brain, and then come back to that like after and really piece it together. But I mean, that's what it sounds like with some parts of your guys' music too, right?
100%. Yeah.
Because I like clown brain. I like that.
Yeah, that's
clown brain. You like that one? Write that one down.
I love the comparison to. Well, I mean, all that stuff is all like feels like similar as far as like
Absolutely.
the process, where because like the way that we write for stuff is very much like that. You try and come to it every day for a little bit, and like one of the things that I started doing with like lyrics is I'll write like one lyric a day with not very much hope for that one lyric.
Right.
Like I try and set the standard like super low. So that way
like
anything
that.
can happen.
I like that part.
Because then it's like at least you get that one lyric, right? And that's the worst of it. Maybe it's one lyric and it's not very good.
Yeah.
But then you get used to that habit. You develop the habit, and then one day a whole song comes. Another day, a couple lyrics come and they're really good. One day you get that stupid day that sucks, that just like it's one lyric that sucks or something. But
you get it out.
know.
Like you get it out of your head. You get it out of your brain. You write it down. You type it somewhere, and it leaves space for more ideas and more creative, pathways to come in through your head when you're thinking about doing something.
100%.
Yeah.
I also think another thing that kind of popped into my head when you were saying all that is we live in a world now where a lot of different artists are doing more jobs than they used to have to do. So where the Beatles could be wild and free, and if you watch that whole Get Back documentary, right, you get to see how just like I mean, they're geniuses, of course, doing so much amazing shit, but they had that George Martin guy there kind of like reeling them in all the time.
Didn't they call him like the fifth Beatle or something like that?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
He was like the dad, right?
Yeah.
Kind of like, okay, cool, but like, what if you did this in the song? What if you did, they got to just sort of like freely be wild and come up with stuff or ideas. And like, if they had an idea to do strings in a song, he put it together for them. and he was producing them, right? He was editing them. He was doing that, right? But in like our circumstance, right, we are recording, so we're engineering ourselves. We're also writing the songs and producing them and everything.
Matt,
right?
how many instruments do you play?
Ooh,
Have you counted before?
no, no, because I feel that if an instrument has strings on it, I could probably make stuff happen. If I can make the note happen, I can probably play it a little bit. So like a piano, I'm not like super fluent on the piano, but because you can just hit a note,
boom,
I can
right there.
start like piecing together chords and melodies and things like that. Or like I play guitar most of my life, so if it has strings like ukulele or bass or mandolin or like banjo or whatever you could come up with that kind of stuff, I could probably start finding my way around on it.
You
So
started on drums.
I started on drums,
Okay,
so that makes
percussion.
sense to me too.
Okay.
I love how you make it seem like, let me grab a guitar. I want to grab a guitar right now and just play a string.
Go get the guitar,
I'm
Amber.
gonna go grab it.
I'm dying. It's been too long.
I think the thing that we both don't know anything about how to play is the woodwind stuff. I mean, have you tried?
Oh yeah, any horns,
Yeah, horns I'm
anything
not.
where like you have to like hold two things down to make one note or something. It's like all of a sudden it's just like, no, brain turns off. Like, nope.
Yeah, well, you could do that on the keyboard. That's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah,
Just
yeah, of course.
Look
Now-
for-
now with plugins.
look for the horn button on there. Just press it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we, or at least like I guess I'm going to speak for myself, but I think I take for granted music, right? I think for a long time, I thought of music and yeah, music makes you feel things and you listen to it. I listen to it in the morning, in the car, things like that. But I also took for granted what actually music is and this process behind it, right? And it's not until we start talking to you guys and other artists that we have on the show that it's just mind blowing how one song, it's like there's so much behind making one song, right? Like it's just this whole process. You can be months, years, whatever X amount of time, and then we listen to it for 2 minutes,
Right.
and it's just like, oh, okay, cool. But it blows my mind. It's amazing what you guys do and what musicians do, honestly.
Oh, well, that's nice of you to say that. Yeah. I mean, I think it's also why we love it so much too. Because, I mean, things like that Get Back movie or the people that have their like little YouTube channel that like explains how they make the music and stuff, or anytime an artist shares into that, that's like one of the most exciting things in the world to us, is seeing them go through that process and stuff. And even like on this record, we, for every one song, wrote up to maybe 5 songs, 2 to 5 songs for each one song. And that...
Wait, hold on. Can you explain that? I don't get that.
So for like the song Summertime Slow, like there's like the voice memo version of that.
Oh,
which was like a full on like fucking like disco song. And, like
the evolution
Yeah.
of the song.
And
Yeah.
how much the lyrics change. I mean, it would be like this riff with like these lyrics, but we would call it something, but it was like, by the end of it, it's like been like 5 or 6 different versions of like
well, there's
totally
that,
different sounding songs,
and then there's
yeah.
just full on like songs that we write that we're just like, I guess. And then you end up kind of going like, no, screw that one, fuck it.
You work
Yeah.
on it for like months
Yeah.
and months and months.
Really?
And you just
Yeah.
finally like, no, it's just not. You
It's
like
not-
go back and listen to it.
It's
or-
not working
Yeah,
out,
it's
or
just not.
yeah.
Or you go.
Or it's like, it's just all right. Like it's a song. You can listen to it for 2 minutes, like you were saying.
Yeah.
but it just doesn't feel like it was good enough for something, I guess, to be simple.
How have you written something and spent so much time on it and thought, like, you know what, this is not going to work out? Like how, like months? Is that months? Is that days? Is that
Years.
weeks? Years? Really?
Yeah.
Sometimes if it's an idea that you've come back to a bunch,
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you never know.
When do you make that call to say, you know what, I'm pulling the plug on this?
It's so hard because there's like that story about Jack White having the 7 Nation Army riff for like years. in
Yeah.
years, right? Like didn't have it for years, and he played it for his like roommate, right? You told me the story, and the roommate was like, I don't know,
Really?
didn't even
Yeah,
like
he was
it.
just like, kind of sucks. I don't know.
Same thing
whatever.
with Stephen King and Carrie too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he threw that away, and his wife
Okay.
picked it up out of the trash.
Oh man.
Yeah,
Wow.
imagine
yeah,
that.
So you never know. So it's like there's been things that if you come back to it, if it stays in your head, or like there's certain things where you're just like, I got to do something with this, and maybe it didn't work out in this version, but there's times where we'll write a song and then we'll decide to scrap the song, but then we'll take pieces of it and go like, you know what, I really liked this one part, that we'll see if we can like put that on hold for later. And then this album, actually things did come up from like years ago that were like, oh, this actually works perfectly here, or what, you know, just you have to kind of be patient. That's why we have like our voice memos on our phone. They're like hundreds and hundreds of voice memos and ideas, and just, you know, seeing if anything ever like finally clicks together, I guess.
Yeah, sometimes you go through the whole process and then you're like, that guitar tone was cool. I guess we'll use that on the next one. Anyways, moving on.
Like that one lyric was cool. So, but that's why, I mean, like I don't know. It's nice that when you have like a setup now where you can do that, it's like pretty cool. We can just like record in our own studio and just do that and just make like up to like 80 versions of a song if we need to, or whatever. And then decide, you know, what you want to use from it, not have to like be like fretting that you just spent like thousands of dollars in like a huge studio, and like, you know, we can sit there and take our time and like kind of go through it all. I don't know.
Killing your darlings, right?
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
I've been getting better at it, to be honest.
Yeah. They don't know it's me yet. Wow.
I mean, I don't look them in the eye or anything while I'm doing it, but like
just tossing work that you've been on doing, like how does that make you feel? Like do you feel bad at all that
sure
you wasted all this time?
Yeah.
I mean, not wasted all this time, because obviously like you found maybe what didn't work, but you also found what will work on something else too. So it's kind of like
it usually is like the first feeling of like deciding like, you know what, man, we would be more productive right now if we switched on to another thing, is usually, that's how I've been saying
the
it.
hardest
you know,
part.
yeah.
That feels really hard, especially if that's at like the end of the night and you have to go to bed after that and you don't get to like start right away. Sometimes you start right away and then you're like, this is a much better direction, killer, and then you feel satisfied. Sometimes it's fucking 4:30 in the morning and you're like, I have to just go to bed right now after I just decided to do this, and you feel like shit. But then usually, you know, there's pieces of the work that was done that start to carry on, like we were saying, and then you start going like, hey, that night wasn't so bad, whatever, and then you just feel dramatic or some shit, you know.
But sometimes you're so in it, and then you like it's hard to have to leave because you're like afraid you're gonna lose your like momentum, and so you have to go do something else, or something comes up, and then, or like you have to go to bed or something, and you're just like, I can't stop, I don't want to stop, you know. And sometimes it's really nice to take some space away, though, you know, and then you come back the next day and you're like, wait, that was like, what the hell was I thinking last night? What is this? You know, and then or sometimes you think it sounds like shit, and you go to bed, or you have a couple days and you come back and you're like, oh wait, that actually is really cool. You know, it's nice to take space. It's just sometimes it's hard when it's like so self-motivated. You feel like if you're not pushing yourself, then like no one's gonna push you. So it's hard to like know the balance sometimes, I think.
Right.
A little bit.
Where do you find the balance for that?
Oh man, you're always working on finding
balance. I don't believe in that shit at all. I feel like, who cares about feeling good? Like, that's not our job as like an artist, dude. Like,
we're miserable.
no, I think you got to take the ups and the downs. That's part of the art.
Twice if you need help.
Jojo, blink twice if you.
I know. No, it's so awesome though, because like when you hear the finished product of it, you're just like, oh man, I'm so happy we like went through all the turmoil.
I bet it's like, like, I don't know. I feel like it's the equivalent of someone like having a baby.
Yeah,
and seeing their baby for the first
you
time.
do.
Like,
Nice analogy. I like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm thinking of like the closest of like, because it is a baby, right?
Oh,
You
yeah.
produced it, you birthed it, you.
It's an interesting thing because it's like on one hand it absolutely feels like a baby, but then the reality is that it's fucking not. So it's like, so we use that a lot of times
It's
to
even
be
better.
like, chill the fuck out, like.
But sometimes I mean like I mean there's so much satisfaction that comes along with it too that makes it all just really really cool. But like I think, every time we listen to our songs that we've done over the years and stuff, like you always remember like everything that was going on in that moment when you were making that song. Like it's like you're capturing that piece of time. So I don't know. It's like, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool like thing to kind of, I feel like, I don't know if that is for everybody, but it feels like.
Well, I think there's a certain part of it that it's like if you hear a song from when you were like a child and you hear it now, don't you kind of think back to some of those times when you first heard it, or some of the memories that you had when you like were listening to it or enjoying it with your friends or like a girlfriend or boyfriend or what, I think that the coolest thing about making music, or one of the cool things, is that you remember all the things that was going on in your life around that whole time that you made that particular song. So especially if it's a song that took a long time to make, all that stuff comes back to you. So it's almost like an interesting like way to battle dementia. No, you remember all that stuff. It helps.
Like that when there's one song we did like a long time ago with our first project we did, and we went through like, I think we had like 5 different drummers or something play on this one song. Like they had a drummer, and then we're like nope, and then another drummer, nope. We did like multiple sessions to finally get like the right one, And then I think we ended up scrapping the song at the end of the whole thing, like after. But like that whole process of just going through all that, we learned so much. We like, and anytime we like listen to that stuff, as I said, we've been playing together for 11 years now. So when we like decided like we're gonna do our own, like we both had come from different projects and bands and stuff, and we're like, let's just do our own band, our own thing together. That's just the two of us, and it's like, yeah, it's nice to like listen to that stuff even from like when we first started, and just like we learned so much from it. You remember so much of these little things that led you here, led you there, and then it's just a cool journey.
On your separate projects, did you play the same genre of music or same style? Like separately, or is it completely different?
Dude, I was like a death metal kid.
Really?
Yeah, fucking like decapitated, fucking Cannibal Corpse.
While Cannibal Corpse is happening, then you had all your smooth stuff on your other side of your brain. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I did always like a lot of music. Like growing up, that was like actually kind of. I had some friends that are like death metal guys. And that's what they've done it since I've known them, and they're so good at it, and it's fucking amazing. But I always, as much as I loved all that stuff, I was always listening to like just different things. I don't know, like well, on the last podcast we were on talking about some of this stuff. It was fun because like they were like, what was like your first like thing that was like powerful about music, and like for me early on it was like fucking like Sheryl Crow and shit like that. Was like super.
Drinking chamomile tea.
And reading comic books and like listening to fucking Sheryl Crow. That was the first moment where I was like, wow, I fucking like love music.
Music is awesome.
Yeah.
I'm like, you sound like a middle-aged.
Yeah, right. Well, and it was that was what my mom was listening to. So that was like that was the influence, right? And then it was like, and then when I found out there was like more music out there, I was like, oh, I don't just have to like listen to like Alanis Morissette or whatever, or fucking, what was the other one she liked a lot? Liz Phair was like the real edgy one. Like she said fuck and like talked about sex or something like that. She was badass, right? And then like, yeah, and then you find Cannibal Corpse and like you're a 9-year-old kid and you're like, fucking, oh my God, this offends everybody. I love this. But yeah, but then I was always listening to a bunch of different stuff. Like, I always really liked like Sublime. I always really liked, I don't know. Of course, I'm blanking right now. I did listen to a lot of music. Can't think of any of it right now. But so what didn't freak me out though, when she was like, oh, I fucking like love all this like jazz music that, or even like pop music and stuff like that. I was kind of like.
In Motown, and I have a lot of different, and I did a lot of like musical theater growing up, and it was like totally different. Two sides of the world. Yeah.
I'm not a fan of musical theater. I still haven't really. I mean, well, okay, we saw
musical theater. What is musical theater?
Like Broadway plays.
Oh, okay.
And stuff, and like operas
the stuff
and
I
stuff.
like.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The stuff
it's
you like.
more of a nostalgic thing, I think, for me now, because as I've grown older, I don't.
Like Mamma Mia type of stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And my grandma was a singer, and she sang a lot of that stuff, so she like introduced it to me. And introduced me to it. There you go. And she liked a lot of jazz. Like she used to sing. She was like a singer in like the jazz clubs in like San Francisco and stuff. And so she had some cool influences with that. But then I loved like R&B and Motown and gospel and like a lot of that stuff growing up, and pop and disco-y style dancey music and stuff. So when we first started playing together, we both love the blues though.
Yeah, we
That's
both
where
love
found
blues
our-
and like rock and roll music.
Yeah. And then our first project we did was like very rooted in like jazzy, bluesy kind of mellow style.
Like very acoustic, you know, just like acoustic
And just
music.
kind of finding our way of singing together and writing together a little bit and stuff. And we actually did like a cover of I Can't Help Falling in Love with You by Elvis. That was like our like kind of like main thing we did with that one was like
that's the one that like it went
acoustic-y.
viral. Actually, it got
Okay.
like over a
And it
million
was-
views and stuff.
Oh,
And it was
wow.
just like one we did like just in our closet, just like Happy Valentine's Day.
We were just
and, like-
naked, smoking weed in the closet, and we were learning how to record and stuff
Yeah.
too. You know, it was like our earliest.
So that's
version
a
of that.
song that went viral because I was reading
Yeah.
something about that.
Yeah, and it's just like it was on a whim, you know. We were just like
Really?
we just like hung a blanket up over like our closet door, and we're like, let's
That was
just
our
record an
sound booth.
Elvis song because he was like kind of like playing around with like this acoustic-y kind of arpeggio pattern thing, and he was just like playing and singing it, and I was like, you know, let's just try it, just because we were trying to learn how to sing
Yeah.
together. You
Together,
know, we weren't even
right.
thinking about it, and then but then our second project we did was like. He was like, okay, like I got to get my like heavy rock. Like this is too mellow for me. I need like heavier shit. And he's like,
to let it out.
Yeah, just start shit.
Just feeling some angst.
Yeah. So then we did like our heavy.
Not
like,
anxious enough.
Yeah. Like stoner rock, you know,
Yeah.
like heavier. Then it was like.
That was where we thought we could meet on that project. Was like with like just like heavy like blues, like rock and roll stuff or whatever. So that was that project for a while, and then. But that one is interesting because we never really felt like it like was doing everything all like we would have certain things where it was like this is working really well, but then this thing was kind of like not really like feeling right and stuff. This is the first project that we feel like our backgrounds are working together like in harmony, I guess, for lack of a better way to say it. You know, it's like we feel like it's finally like working, you know, like with certain things like I don't know how much you did listen to the album, but like the song Mess Around, for instance, was a song where we figured out that if you put like a heavy guitar riff on her playing the sub bass, all of a sudden it has this like huge energy and excitement and like really fun feel to it of like almost like a rock song or like heavy type song, you know, or a blues song or whatever. But then that would free up me to do other things with the guitar, more soundscapey or kind of like different chordal things that like kind of maybe are like jazz influenced or something like that. And so all of a sudden I felt like we like with that song kind of like hit this new place where we're like, that feels like good. That feels special to us. That feels like our things coming together and working together really well. And that might have been the kind of first one that really felt like the new sound. And then after that, it was like Taste of You, right? That one, like where it was.
Well, You Look Like Rain was the first one. Oh, okay, Mess. Yeah,
Well, we
Mess
recorded
Around.
it, but
and
like,
then You Look Like Rain
the
was
song-
I think, the second one, maybe.
well, but
Yeah, maybe.
well,
you're
Mess
right,
Around
maybe.
though was like a song that we had been messing with for a while.
Yeah, we're messing it. So literal. Yeah. I think that was the first one, and then yeah, we kind of put because like I think coming from your heavy rock and metal background stuff is like all the guitars have to be on, you know, the riff has to be on the guitar, like heavy riffs, you know, and then like just kind of resetting that idea and just like, well, how can we get? Because he writes like riffs all day long, just like it just comes to him like all the time. So it's like, how do we like fit that with? You know, how do we kind of meet these two things in the middle and stuff? So, like, on a few of the songs, I'm trying to think of which ones you wrote the riffs for, and then we ended up putting it on the bass. I think was it? I'm trying to remember which ones you did that on the album.
Well, but it's more the concept though, because
Yeah.
even like Mess Around, because she
Yeah.
did write the part for Mess Around, but it was that came after the idea
Mm-hmm.
of like, well, what if we start putting those riffs on the bass, and then that frees up me to do other things
Mm-hmm.
instead of just playing the riff, which always, whenever the guitar is doing the riff, it always sounds like rock and roll. It always sounds heavier.
Oh, okay.
And then, yeah, I probably should have said that. it always
now
sounds,
it makes sense to me. I got it.
yeah, whenever the riff part
Yeah.
is on the guitar,
Okay.
it's always like a heavier song instantly. And it just makes that genre switch. But we found out that if we take that part, sorry, I wish I had a guitar and I could just like show you exactly what I'm talking about. But
Well, actually, no.
if you got one. Yeah, so once we found that out, it like really, all of a sudden we could have that energy and excitement, and then but keep like more of like a jazzy feel, so that she could feel like her voice was fitting in with the music. Because that was what we were running into with the heavier music, is that my voice would work with it, but then her voice, she didn't ever feel like was like sitting right, didn't feel like the right like feel or something, you know. And so once we did that, it really felt like, okay, we're doing it. We're doing the thing.
So when the bass has that rhythm or the riff, what other music has the bass as a riff?
Well, I mean, it's actually like a lot of music, a lot of funk music, or a lot of Motown music, or a lot of that stuff. I mean, it was. But then I do think that there's a little bit of a difference, just because coming from a heavier background, I think my riffs are a little different than, say, what a traditional Motown bass player would do or something. You know, I'm a little bit more like I'm used to, like a Black Sabbath riff will repeat. You know what I mean? It'll play over and over again. Or if you think about something like Seven Nation Army, where it's like, dun, what is it? What's that one sound like?
Dun, 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 dun,
Dun, dun. So how it goes over and over again.
Dun, 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 dun. And they didn't have a bass player. They just did that.
But he did that octave down thing.
Yeah, he did octave down thing. Such a great song.
But like that repeating thing, I feel like for me comes from like rock and roll music, like having the riff that repeats over and over again. And then when you put it on the bass like that, it almost has like a hip hop kind of sound to it. Because the way that the nature of the hip hop stuff, because they were building from samples, you know, so they would take these chunks of music that either were available or that they liked or whatever, and then you're like looping that, you know? And so it's just a little bit different than, say, like just like a normal Motown bass line.
And we did this last album, most of it was with loops, like drum loops. Just kind of built our own drums on there, so it inspired us to,
So when do you? I'm gonna take it back because I keep.
We're getting off into music nerd land.
No, it's amazing. But when do both of you, right, separately? But when do you know, like, hey, I can sing, or hey, I can play an instrument? Like, when was that turning point for?
When did you know? I still don't know. Just do. maybe when you don't care about whether you think you can sing or not, and you just do anyways. Maybe that's when you know you're a singer.
I think your story was you tried out like 41 singers for your band, and you were like, nope, to all 41. And you're like, I guess I gotta sing now.
Yeah, I'd read a story about like Robert Johnson. Do you guys know who Robert Johnson is? He's like I think he's like one of the first ever recorded.
He's like one of the founding fathers of.
Yeah, absolutely.
And something about he
sold his soul. And
sold his soul for rock and roll or something like that, or for the blues. Yeah. Okay.
But so I had read a story about how insecure, I guess, basically he was about his voice, and when he recorded his like. I think it's like 29 or something recordings that he did. He had to face the corner of the room because he couldn't like look at anybody. He was so like scared.
Wasn't Jim Morrison like that as well?
I don't think so.
No,
there's stories about him like getting like blowjobs in the fucking booth and stuff like that. I think he needed people to look at him when he was doing. He had a whole different vibe.
But I think it was like I think it was like at the early stages of the Doors that he would face John Densmore while they were playing.
Right, like on stage he would he would face the crowd,
And then John Lennon too. I think that's why he would put extra reverb on his voice during their early tracks. And I read somewhere around there.
I've heard that.
He didn't like his voice or something like that.
Yeah, so he tries to mess with it with like different echoes and stuff. Yeah.
Yes.
I think the Jim Morrison one, I'm still not convinced on that one. I think he was just like messed up on stage and he was like, where am I?
There you go. He thought I was facing the crowd. He was facing John the whole time.
You always hear those stories that he would like dose everybody with like acid beforehand. I wonder if he was just like, what in the hell?
Right.
Am I supposed to sing right now? That's why he was always rambling like on stage, talking about the Lizard King and this and that.
Yeah.
That's funny. But that story with Robert Johnson was inspiring to me. That like, and it was more of like, I think there was something along with that too, where he was trying to work with other singers and kept kind of wanting to hear it a certain way. You know what I mean? And the story was like, he got to work with his favorite singer and was trying to critique him. You know, oh, sing it like this, sing it like that. And then the guy goes, you know what? Like, you got to sing this to your fucking self, dude. Back the fuck up. And like, but that's when the dude started singing. And that I was like, okay, like, you know, like, yeah, like maybe like it's like not the fucking singers, it's maybe it's like I want to hear something, you know. And so that's when I started singing, you know. It was like, I guess like I have to take on this responsibility if I'm not happy with all the people that are coming into this thing, you know. So.
All the 241 people.
Yeah, exactly.
And then for like, I was thinking like when I started playing bass, because I started playing keys pretty young too. I was like 6, but when I started playing bass was when we had like our band we were doing before this one, and it was like we wanted more of that like rock and roll setup thing, and we're like, oh, we don't want to hire a bassist. And I was like, well, I'll just play it, like I'll just go for it, you know. And I didn't realize that like with piano, you know, like you're usually, you know, your left hand is playing bass lines and stuff. So I had like a lot more of a knack, like already kind of like built up for it, that I didn't even realize I was kind of like, you know, had that timing and that feel and stuff. So when I transferred it to the bass, it just felt so comfortable. And I remember just like plugging into a amp for the first time and just going, whoa, and I was like, holy shit, fucking awesome. So I just loved it. And then just kind of getting used to the fingers and stuff a little bit. But like, I mean, it was kind of out of necessity, I guess, to answer your question. Was like, I didn't really think like, can I play or not? I was just kind of like, I need to play this because we don't really want to hire anybody, so I'll just do it. And then I just ended up really liking it. But
it's a big deal when you work with other musicians because they have their own personalities and they have their own visions or things that they're trying to do with their life musically, you know. And sometimes it doesn't all line up, you know what I mean? If
I get that totally,
you know.
Yeah,
it'd be like, I don't know, like if there's a good analogy for it, and I maybe just won't even try. But like, it's just like, you know, it's like nothing against any of the people, you know. But it's like if like, you know, let's say a guitar player just really wants to show off how fucking amazing he is at guitar all the time. But then you're like, well, we want to write songs with like vocalists, and like, you know, that's like our main goal is to like write good songs with like that are built around like the vocal parts and stuff like that.
And he's trying to solo over,
and he's trying to shred over all. It's like then the focus of the music is off. It's not
it
working
gets
anymore.
shifted somewhere else, right?
And so sometimes, and very often, you kind of run into that with musicians.
Because you have a vision, right? You have a vision, and you have something in your head that you need to let out, and sometimes that other person is maybe on the same road, with you like that, but kind of like not maybe in the same town, but not on the same road. I don't know. That's
totally. It might like look similar, but it doesn't line up. You know, you can look at it like business or something. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Like there's a branding. Like it's a brand basically. I mean, you're a musician, so your sound is your brand.
Sure, yeah.
In a sense.
Well, and you have to have like a vision for it. So like if you have this podcast, right? You have a vision for your podcast. Now let's say you try and take on another host with yourself right now, right? And this guy is trying to like
or girl,
and they're trying to take over the show because they want to talk about something that they really believe in life or something like that, where you're kind of like, I don't want to knock that or anything, but you need to find your own fucking platform for that shit.
I can't. The mute button is over there. So if anything, Amber has all the power to mute me.
I'm taking over
if she
guys,
wanted to.
So what makes your dynamic with each other work so well? Because I mean, just seeing you guys sit here and talk to us, and even like just you guys are on the same page. Like, is that all the time? I mean, what's your dynamic with each other? Why do you guys work so well?
Well, I'll take that as a compliment. I don't want to pretend that it's like always perfect or something, but like I think that we value respecting each other a lot. It's all respect, and so when we don't feel on the same page, that's how you said it, right? When we don't feel on the same page, it's very important to us to get onto the same page, and that's that. So we spend the time. And sometimes a song doesn't get written that day, and you spend time getting on the same page together, And
that's important too, right?
Yeah.
Like as the music is important, also the team is important as well, because you guys have to mesh together to create something like so particular, like music.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, and I think also like it's pretty cool that like since we're married and we know we love each other, and it's kind of like we can be super honest and just
Divorce is expensive.
We can just get like passionate about whatever like either one of us is feeling, and just be honest and like hash it out and stuff, and just go through it together. And like he's saying, like having that respect for each other, and just kind of feeling that comfortability of like just being able to like be completely honest with each other is, I think, really nice.
Yeah, I think we have a bigger goal too than just like a personal. I think we're trying to make something together because we like working together. Like I do value her perspective, input, musical and otherwise, So like in our last band where it was like heavier, like we were talking about, and it was like technically working for my voice. So it could have been like, well, I don't know about you, but it's doing okay for me. But that's not the goal. The goal is to work together. The goal is to create something together, because I think that's ultimately what's going to be special, is not one person's view of what should be. It's like going to be a little bit of like this like combination and stuff, especially it being so wildly different, our backgrounds and input, that like I think what's going to come from that is going to be a lot better than just my own point of view. So,
Wow.
I don't know.
It's a lot to take in.
See, they work well. No, I'm kidding.
Hey, we
Take
work well
notes,
together.
too.
You guys
No,
seem to
we-
work well.
yeah.
Give me a
really
pen.
well.
Give me a pen and paper. We're gonna do a exclusive interview here.
No, we work really well. I think it's the same kind of dynamic with you guys. It's
Absolutely.
Like we set aside our relationship, right? Like we love each other and everything, but also
Although there are some times where some events or some interviews will cause us to divorce.
just for a couple hours.
Just for a couple of hours.
No, but we know, like you guys said, we know how to, because you love this person, right? And yeah, you're upset or frustrated or anything, but at the end of the day, you know that you still have that love and that respect, that it just makes it lets you be who you are and what you want to say, right? Versus tiptoeing around someone that maybe you don't know as well or things like that. So yeah, we totally get it. But that's awesome. That's really nice.
Well, and I mean, there is like I don't know if superficial is the right way to say it, but there's like also just a thing where it's like I like for myself, I like what we make together, and I think it's going to be better than if I just go on my own or something, And I've played in a lot of bands with a lot of different musicians and stuff like that, and to me, this one feels special. So there's that like selfish aspect of it too, where it's just
And
kind of
we
like
started playing together before we were dating, which is pretty cool. Like we started actually just playing together, and we played for like a full year, I think, together before we even started dating. We
Yeah.
were just playing together. We just like actually really liked playing together. So, and we were just friends. So that was like, it wasn't like we were married and then we're like, hey, we should start a band out of necessity. It was like,
Yeah.
we actually like started hanging out because we like to play music together.
That's awesome.
So that's how and then we just fell in love with each other as we were playing music. So, I mean, it was that part of it's always like,
that part of it we didn't even
really
think about,
organic,
to be
yeah.
honest. Yeah, it's just like I would have to say that my answer is based around trying to think of like very recent times when like for instance, like switching into this new project, there was a lot of talk of like, well, should we just like not do stuff together, or like, because then because there's a whole like bonus to that, because then you just get to like support the other person, and then you can support me on my adventure and I'll support you on your adventure of like the thing. There's a whole thing to that. But I think that I'll speak for myself and just say that like I actually just enjoy like the stuff that we make a lot. So there you go.
Yeah, it's when we first started working together, when we first started dating, I guess, and working together, and deciding to do the band together, we tried to have like, I mean, I guess we still do it. We just don't say it as vocally now, but we would say like, okay, husband and wife time, or like relationship time, work time. Like we'd really like physically try to like separate it, and trying not to like, okay, we're in like working mode, or we're in like music mode, or we're in this mode. Because like it's interesting to find that balance between just like wanting to be like relationship where you're just like supporting and just kind of like being more emotional, I guess, and it's a totally different like mentality. And then when you're like trying to have like a business or a band with somebody and like thinking of them and talking to them like as an equal business partner, or like just having that different mentality, it's like it's definitely like,
because there's
how do you navigate that? Like, is the business and the band, is that pretty integrated into your everyday relationship?
Yeah, I think so. But business isn't really supposed to have much emotion, and that is complicated. Even just fucking playing music, because music is all fucking, it's like emotion and numbers. You know what I mean? So like, So like that dynamic exists no matter what as a musician, I think. So I think that the music piece of it is a lot more, like it relates to the relationship piece of it too. It's passion, it's fun, it's exciting. Like we can't help but when we go on like a vacation, but like, I mean, there's times where we're like in a writing block or whatever we'll say, and like then we go take a vacation and we'll fucking write like 3 song ideas in like fucking 40 minutes into the drive, and like that's just fun and exciting, just like the relationship is and stuff. And then the business part is always where, it's like it can be like, it's more of like a brutal outlook of everything and like what you want to accomplish with it and all that kind of stuff. So
I think the business stuff is probably where we have like a lot more like boundaries and balance, but then be like, okay, like we're cutting that off now, we're going back into like husband wife mode or whatever, or like cutting off for the night, like let's watch a movie, let's like go on a date
like
tonight,
music and like and husband and wife mode, I guess, as we're calling it now. I guess that's what can we come up with a better name? Jesus, that's not even for being clever people. That's,
now we're this one. I don't know.
For supposedly being artists here, like we're not like coming up with very clever names here.
You guys write a full song.
We can write a full song in like 10 minutes, but then fucking husband and wife mode is the best we can come up with. Fuck. The music part though does feel like it integrates into husband and wife mode very easily, and it's the business stuff where we usually watch out, like making sure that there's no emotion going into that.
Yeah.
Because fuck that. I don't know. Because it's just,
the industry is like just crazy.
How is it, by the way? Is it
honestly? Yeah. Best it's ever been.
Yeah?
Personal opinion. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think.
So too.
Why do you think that?
Because though a lot of people will fucking complain and say that it's not the way that it used to be, and I can't just sell this to make money, this, that, or the other thing, whatever, blah, blah, blah. There's so much options for so much different stuff that it kind of feels stupid to me. Sorry, that's pretty brutal. I mean, I don't know, whatever. Getting real rough over here. It feels it feels like not the best use of your time to be upset about the change, because yeah, like sure, yeah, you can't just sell a record anymore and make your living, fine, but you can also make a fucking record in a fucking bedroom with like fucking less than $1,000 worth of equipment and fucking like, and then put it up online for fucking free and like fucking have people to the whole fucking world.
Yeah.
And it's like
there's just a lot of creative outlets and a lot of opportunities, I think, for like artists that weren't available 50 years ago, you know. But I mean, I feel like it's always constantly evolving and changing, and I think that there's probably a ton of it that's like harder than it used to be and then easier than it used to be. And it's like, I think the best way to like that, when we tend to have like the most fun and like just navigate through it and like don't feel like hopeless or don't like when we have like I don't know, I guess like the most positive way of like in the most success with it is just kind of like getting excited about all the different like things that keep evolving. And like TikTok, for instance, was kind of an interesting thing because it was like we just got used to like Instagram and Facebook and stuff, and then it's like now there's this other one you have to like put all your stuff on and rebuild up on there. It's like instead of getting like, and then there's probably
with the
be
smaller,
one.
shorter window, right?
Right. And then it's like, in this one you have to do this type of thing, and like, it's a little confusing. Like you don't know exactly like how to like, you know, each app and each thing has like kind of a different like way of like showing your content and like how people respond to it and stuff like that, which I feel like can get overwhelming really easily. But like it's, if you can find a way to like not take it so seriously and just do the best you can. Like we noticed like certain things will be like, okay, well, we're just going to put our stuff on there. And then if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We're not going to like freak out if we don't go like TikTok viral tomorrow, you know, like let's just like put our stuff on there and just have fun with it.
Our method doesn't really work with the 7-second window of TikTok.
Yeah.
But who fucking cares? We're on TikTok with our like 1.5-minute long video of like us playing live, and it's still opportunity to get like, we still get fans like every day from posting stuff on TikTok. So maybe it's not like the person who's keeping up with the latest like little trend of like 7-second video. They might get a shitload of fucking people, but like,
and maybe tomorrow one of our things will just randomly, you don't know, but maybe it won't. Like, and maybe it'll be another new thing that's like cool. I don't know. It's just, I think we are always like, because all the technology too with like making music and stuff too is a little bit like interesting. It's a little overwhelming too with how many people like don't need to play instruments anymore. Like all the technology that comes out that like you can just literally, I think, is it like Ableton or what's the one I'm thinking of, where you can just like pick just like push a couple buttons and it's like a whole beautiful song is like kind of created for you, right? So like us coming from like learning our instruments forever and like having this whole kind of craft that we built up and then going like, wow, is that even like necessary anymore? Stuff like that. But it's like, it's all, I think it's just part of the evolution of everything and just kind of finding your way constantly and just trying to like enjoy the experience of evolution instead of getting overwhelmed by it. But I don't know. It's up and down.
Where do you see AI in music?
Like, I think that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
It's like we had a neighbor that was like making music.
I don't know. I heard some AI made music and I was like, I don't feel worried anymore. Like, I could see that too.
Is there some online that we can look? I haven't listened.
I don't know. I found it on some YouTube video, I think, and it was like this person like.
Yeah, there's a ton of it.
I'm sure. Yeah, but it's so far, it's like it's too like I guess type style, you know, like it's like oh, like make a fucking like hip hop song for me, and then it'll be like all the most basic elements of hip hop, and so pretty generic and and I think to a person who cares about music is gonna fucking see right through that shit. I'm sure there's people that are like, whoa, I can't tell the fucking difference, you know what I mean? But if you care about music, you'll be like,
they're the ones complaining. They're the complainers in the world. Yeah. Those AI people. Yeah. I'm pretty sure there's going to be like an AI like music subculture.
Oh,
Imagine that.
I'm sure. And
big music, AI music festivals that are like that.
Oh man, yeah.
Robot bands.
The whole subculture. That'd be crazy. I wonder what the hairstyle is going to look like for that. It'd be interesting. And be bald with Ray-Ban glasses probably.
But yeah.
know,
So
it's crazy.
what's your? So you guys have been talking about your new album, right?
Mhm.
So you guys have a new album out. Can you guys tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I mean, let's see. We recorded the whole thing in Austin, Texas. You know, we started, a couple things were recorded in a studio called Arlen that's in Texas, which is Willie Nelson family owned. That was a really cool thing. But we ended up taking some recommendations on gear from a producer that we were working with out there and just finishing up the entire thing in our apartment.
Whoa.
And really, it was just trying to navigate all the air conditioning that everyone had on all the time.
Yeah.
So I kept getting into our tracks we were trying to record because it's so hot
fucking
all
hot in Texas,
the time. And like, you can't go a day without like somebody having air conditioning on somewhere. And like, we learned like things like that where you, like when you're recording at home or you just learn these like certain things and you're just like trying to navigate through all that stuff. But really, we just sat in our home in Austin and just made the whole record. And then I think because of the heat and the humidity and the way everything out there is so just like everyone kind of walks slower and talks slower and there's chill and like probably also to do with the weather. I don't know. It's the whole culture out there is just so relaxed. I think our whole album was probably like 10 beats slower than it would have been if we were like living here. Because like we literally wrote a song like the chorus is like, let's take it slow. Like I don't know if we would have written that if we were living here, but just like being out there and just like feeling the culture and like just being around everybody and like just experiencing a whole new. I mean like we actually like recorded cicadas and actually put it in one of our
What are
songs
those?
because I
There's
didn't know
bugs.
what cicadas were
They're
either.
just like
They're bugs.
they're
yeah.
bugs, but they're so loud and they're in
you
Texas.
should pull it up on there.
We thought it was rattlesnakes because we were only used to
Really?
rattlesnake
They're that
noises.
loud?
Yeah.
super loud. Yeah.
I'm like, how do you spell it?
Cicadas.
I don't know.
Cicada. I think Cada.
I know what they are, but I can't spell it.
Cicadas.
I'm gonna butcher it.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, there it goes.
Cicada.
Hey, you're close.
But wait, I think it's like their mating sound.
Yeah, it's like loud.
It's
Let's see if we
loud,
can
yeah.
hear,
Were these the bugs from Silence of the Lambs? Probably not. Huh? Am I wrong? Yeah, I'm wrong.
We were so.
Yeah, see if you can hear it. Like
We got used to it by the end of it, but when we first got there, it was like.
it's hiding.
We're just watching a bug. Oh, there it goes. But when there's a lot, right? It's like,
Yeah,
when there's a
there's
lot,
ton.
it's-
Right.
Yeah.
exactly.
That sounds like techno.
Yeah.
Yes.
Some of them, I have this one on my phone.
We have a bunch of
I wish
it
I had
recorded.
it, but it sounded like a synthesizer, and I was
Really?
like, no
Oh, that's
fucking way.
cool.
And I was like,
Yeah.
I ran back inside when I was hearing it, and I like grabbed my phone and like came back out and was like hoping for the, you know.
Well, and like when we first got there, this is a side note, but we like the place that we had rented, the Airbnb had a squatter. So when we showed up, we like literally sold everything we owned in California and just like packed up our tour van and just were like, let's go to Texas for a year and record an album. And we
That
got
was awesome,
there,
by the way.
and the like we just. I think it was like through COVID and everything too. We just wanted to like live somewhere outside and California was so closed down. And when we got to Texas, it was like, they were like, what? COVID? Never heard of it. It was like so open and
What's
like
that?
just, we wanted that change, I think. And like, but there was a squatter there. We had heard about it with like people squatting in Airbnbs because if you live there for longer than a month, you're considered like a renter. So you can just stay. So they were doing that. So that's what happened to us. And then we just kind of like had all of our stuff in our van. And we're just like kind of living in like a hotel for like a little
like
while
a
and
month
just trying to
that
like
we were just in a
find our
hotel
way.
trying to find a place.
So we ended up recording a song in that hotel and like, but there was like cicadas outside this one hotel, like so loud. So we were just like, we would just record them every night. And it was like really cool. It was right when like Austin City Limits was happening there, the big festival. And we didn't realize that was like this huge festival like Coachella. Like we didn't know about
okay.
it out here. We thought it was, did you know it was that big? I thought it was like just the like little TV show that you see like this Austin City Limits like videos.
Yeah,
that we've
that's
all
what I thought. I
seen.
thought it
We
was
didn't
like
realize
this
it was
this venue out there that they call the Moody Theater.
Oh yeah.
and it's got So then and it's
I know
got
where
that
that's
like behind the stage. It has that whole like big like city kind of backdrop kind of thing. I thought it was just that. That's what I thought Austin City Limits
it was like a
but-
huge festival, and so we had like all of our stuff in our van, and we're just like we couldn't really get like a place. Everything was all like booked, and it was just kind of a crazy experience. But we got really like, I guess like thrown into like Austin, kind of like just the culture, and it was really cool. It was like kind of like
it was fun to sort of well, now it feels fun to like sort of muse about what influenced the music, I guess, whether it was like the temperature, the people, the fucking food, or
we went through tornado season.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
Wow.
Like it floods out there a lot. There's like real crazy thunderstorms and lightning storms. Like we got that too on film, like a lot. We were like,
or like lightning. So one night we woke up in the morning and a tree had like fallen into our window. And because like about 10 feet outside of our window had been struck by lightning. Wow. And then we stepped out front and it had happened in 2 other places, like all within like 50 feet from our house.
And all of our neighbors, and everyone was like, oh yeah, that happens all the time. Like,
or like the tornado thing, it was a record at the time. So there was over 20 tornadoes touching at once, surrounding Austin. And the radar was down. So we were like, we're from fucking California. Is this a big deal? Are we supposed to be like fucking hiding or what? And then we were like hiding in the closet. And then we looked up we were like, wait, we should go check out and see like how some of our friends are doing, So we like went and like looked on Instagram and like some were like playing in the rain and stuff. And we're like, oh fuck. We're like, no one's scared about this right now. They're just
I went to Sedona last year. And we stayed like we have an RV, so we stayed in an RV park. And our neighbor, they lived in Las Vegas, but he grew up in New Orleans.
Oh,
and
nice.
he was like asking us about California and everything. And then he was like, oh no, he's like, I'd rather go through a tornado, he's like, than go through an earthquake. And I was like, no, like there's no way. And he's like telling us like things get lifted, and then he says they go like tornado hunting. And they go after them. And I'm like, no. We shake for 20 seconds and that's it. Like, I couldn't wrap my brain around that he would rather have a tornado. I don't know. It sounds scarier than...
It does.
It's probably just like whatever you grow up with, right?
Yeah, exactly. There's like this video that time. There was a video of someone in Austin. It was like a little further out than where we were. It was like North Austin or something. But they were like in a red Chevy, and he was just like driving, and he got picked up by one of the tornadoes, and like turned around, and then just like put back down, and he just drove.
You gotta pull up this video. We should see if we find it. But this red truck full on like flips over.
Is there somebody in there?
There's someone in there. It gets thrown to the other side of the road, and the guy just fucking drives off.
Like no,
And then like Chevy, I think like bought him a new truck or something.
Really?
Yeah, something like that.
For all your troubles, here you go. Here's a new truck.
Is it that one?
That doesn't look familiar.
That one maybe, yeah.
Oh, maybe that's it.
That one's like sliding around.
That's cool.
So it was a teenager.
Oh, it's him. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, and they gave him a new truck. That's like them. that one.
Probably didn't even have a
That was
license.
from the
That's
tornado.
crazy.
New tonight, we are hearing from the 16-year-old driver who somehow
He's like, I'm not
survived
scared about the tornado,
this
dude. It's my
encounter with
dad.
the
Yeah.
fucking wind. Midland, Texas, Monday. The storm chaser video captures that red pickup being flipped on its
And then he
side,
just
spun
drives off.
around, and flipped right side again, allowing the teen to then drive away. Riley
so
Leon
crazy.
says he knew there was going
like,
to be stormy weather on
Mijo,
Monday. He didn't want to miss.
cabron, you're supposed to be at school.
Before he even got back home.
And like they
had
love
actually gotten home
good.
from the wreck, and my brother was like, have you seen the video? And I'm like, what video? And he showed it to me, and I was like, that's actually me. And he was like,
Dang.
"Oh, like, yeah. For God for giving me another chance in this life, because he probably did it because of a reason. He's probably in the future gonna bring better plans into my life.
Oh, we certainly hope so.
Just with
Riley says
scratches?
he's
Yeah.
still processing his near-death experience. But right now he is mostly upset about the truck because you see it was his dad's and he worked hard to be.
Damn.
Yeah, there we go.
There it was.
Getting calls from
Yeah.
dealerships interested in helping Riley out.
Let's see the bruises from the chancla later that evening after his. Yeah.
And they
Bring
gave
out the
him
belt.
one. But they also they love like Whataburger out there. Have you guys ever had Whataburger?
Jeez.
And we
What's your thoughts?
we did not like it, and it was a big problem because we love In-N-Out. Like we're
Well, they sell it to you.
Can I get you another drink? Are you good?
I'm good.
I'm good for now.
You're good?
Appreciate
Okay.
it though.
Oh, another water or anything? You good?
Water sounds good.
Yeah. Okay, I'll get you another one.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. What the hell were we just saying?
Whataburger.
We're like,
Whataburger. Oh yeah, because they
I
sell it
called
to you.
What a shitty burger.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Oh man. Well, they sell it
know.
to you like it's better than In-N-Out. It's our In-N-Out, and you're like, damn, like. Now I
was
can't
like
like it or something. You know,
Yeah,
there's no
yeah.
way you're gonna get me with that. You know.
I felt like it was like a charbroiled burger, like burger joint kind of mediocre burger, to be honest.
Mm.
We
Yeah.
were so excited because we had it in Arizona. I guess I had one in Arizona. And we're like, yeah. And then we had it and we're like, oh, no. It made us sick, honestly.
Yeah, it made us sick too. It was so
Yeah.
oily. I don't know. I feel like the way they like presented it to us, everyone's so prideful about it. There, it was like now we can't like it because like we're like we got to stand it for like In-N-Out.
Well, you know what was really good though was this place called P. Terry's.
Yeah.
That was closer related to like In-N-Out style. I thought at least. I don't know. That was my own.
Yeah, we liked P. Terry's, but yeah,
good.
that was like
Simple menu. Fries were similar. Burgers were similar, right?
right. And then they had an In-N-Out next to the Whataburger in Austin, and we're like, and everyone was like always talking shit about it, and like it was all like shady, and like no one was ever there. I was like, why do you even have
and
In-N-Out here?
yeah.
I hate it so much.
And the only thing that we ever heard about happening at this fucking In-N-Out was that someone got stabbed in the parking lot.
Whoa.
And we were like, oh fuck.
It's like we're the
Some
stuff.
lone Californian or something like that.
Well, maybe it would be the equivalent if they brought like Whataburger here. We'd probably be like, what the heck is that place? doing
Yeah,
Right, right.
yeah,
But
yeah.
I would go.
yeah, no, I wouldn't go again.
No? But it'd be different because it'd be like different beef, maybe different vegetables, maybe Californian cheese, American cheese. I don't know. No?
So, nah. I pass.
Maybe the Arizona, I'm not advocating for Whataburger, but maybe the Arizona burger was totally different than Texas.
No, but they had the Texas one instead of shitty too.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
We didn't try the
Sorry.
In-N-Out in Texas though.
Oh, that's what I was going to ask. You guys did
The
it?
In-N-Out
No?
was bad. We felt too scared. Remember, we're like, I
don't want to get stabbed.
Yeah.
Like, for a double.
Double or getting stabbed. I don't know.
Because we have our
worth
tour
it.
van and we have our Prius, and our Prius, like that's literally all we like packed up our Prius and our tour van. That's like all the stuff we had, and our tour van like did really well in Texas, like because there's the streets and everything are just so like I don't know, it's just like built for bigger vehicles out there. There's deer everywhere, so like you just have to watch out for them all the time. Not like in the city, but like pretty close to the city. There's deer everywhere.
It's probably the deer that stabbed that person.
That's
We
true.
have no
That's true.
idea.
We don't know. But the Prius was just like falling apart and had California plates too. So like everyone, like
everybody
when you're
hated
driving in Texas,
Oh.
Prius, California
So you're-
plates.
So you're in Austin, Texas, driving a Prius
Yeah.
with California
Going in
plates.
and out.
You could
Going
feel
in.
the hate on the road. You could feel the...
Well, we drove over like a speed bump and like the bumper just like fell off because it was not doing well in Texas. Like it just I don't know, it wasn't built for.
But it
us.
does feel like when you have California plates and you go somewhere else, it feels like you have a target
yeah.
on your back.
I feel like everybody's watching
because
us
even
or
when we went to
something.
Arizona, on our way to Arizona, I'll never forget because I'm always like looking out the window and stuff like that. We were going, 80 miles per hour on this highway, right?
We need a camera on you for this one. I just
Yeah.
No, I
wish.
can't show.
I just wish everybody at home can see her face at the moment when what she's about to do.
So we're going like 80 miles, right? And we're like, okay, we're cool. We have our music on. Apparently, my dad says they drive like 100 miles an hour on this road. So
Well,
we
the
were-
speed limit's like 80 out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were already going right at speed limit,
Yeah.
which you're not supposed to. So we're like driving, and these cars are like, driving past us, looking at us, and I'm like, something wrong with the back of our car? Like,
Did you leave us
do we have a
the
tire
back open or something?
Yeah.
So then this guy drives by us, and he freaking like cuts us off, and then he does this. He's like, and I started cracking up, and I'm like laughing, and he's like, "What?" And I'm
like, what is
this
going
guy
on?
just like stuck his tongue out and fucking like thumbs down me, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm offended that he didn't like give me the finger or something. Like, come on, dude, you're gonna fucking
Flip me off.
flip me off at least. Something.
Flip me the bird.
It's funny. It's like the thumbs down is somehow worse.
That's it. That's
like,
the
wait a minute.
equivalent.
Yeah.
Fuck you.
I was like, oh, okay,
Oh my
all
God.
right.
I never wanted to fight someone more in my life. Fucking thumbs down me. Give me a
Hey.
fucking finger like a fucking normal person. Like an animal, you savage.
That's the whole way. I was like,
Yeah.
this guy just fucking thumbs down me. Okay, but that's all he did. I was upset more of the thumbs down than him cutting us off.
So funny.
But it was. We drove all through Arizona, and,
Yeah.
and everyone stared
We had a
at us,
target on our
like,
back,
I was
dude.
like, okay.
Yeah, because you got to think like you're like think about like some like motherfucker out here who's just like driving 65, like that son of a bitch, right? Yeah. and like,
That's who we
and you're like
were.
speeding by and giving him the thumbs down, right? And out there you're like going 80, and you're like, dude, like I'm worried about like the cops right now or something. And like out there though, yeah.
Were you
Gotta
were you
go
guys
90.
were you guys in Austin when you did that that Burning Man virtual event?
No, that
No.
was here. That was right
Burbank.
during
in
COVID. 'cause-
Burbank.
Yeah, in
It was
Burbank.
during COVID.
Yeah, because that was they couldn't do Burning Man in person, so they did the whole virtual version of it. It was like at the height of COVID. I forgot, was that 2020?
That was like in 2020.
2020.
Really?
It was really cool.
What was that like?
That was really fun. They just
Yeah?
made like a big party in the studio, and then they were tuning in from like Seattle. Was it Seattle? And San Francisco and LA.
So it was, Reverbia was like the Burning Man camp that was like running it, and I think when they do it in person too, are like the main like music camp,
Live music. camp,
live
like,
music
yeah.
camp, yeah. And so they had three things, yeah, like you were saying, Seattle, Burbank, and there was another one, which
San
I can't-
Francisco.
San Francisco,
Yeah.
okay. And it was cool. I mean, it was out of a studio in Burbank from some friends of ours and stuff, and that are some friends of ours own. And they had like a pretty cool like lighting setup and stuff. And it was like we pre-recorded it, and then they
So like
played
when
it
you
over the
when you were
weekend,
on
right?
the app, like in Burning Man, did you guys go on the app at all? During that? Have you guys ever been to Burning Man?
I have not.
We haven't either. We know so many people that have been forever, and like every year we're like, we're gonna go. This is the year, and then I don't know, something always comes up.
Where is it
Oh,
usually
yeah.
held at?
Black Rock.
which
Black
is in
Rock?
California. California? No, it's like over by. It's really close to Tahoe.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
it's cool. I don't know. It's like, okay, we just went to Joshua Tree this last weekend, and every time we're in the desert for like a little too long, I feel like we're always like, we need to like shower. I don't know. We can go to Burning Man for like a whole week. I don't know. Like no showers, no.
I seen videos of people. So like now, like if you rent like a trailer to go to Burning Man, they charge you like $1,000
Damn.
more.
Okay.
And then people were like literally like saran wrapping the inside of these vehicles because
Yeah.
they were coming back with like loads and loads of like dirt and dust, and they're just
Yeah.
saying that it's
Yeah.
like this like huge like dirt storm the
Dust
entire
bowl.
yeah, it's like really really bad. People's I remember seeing a video of this girl, and she came back and her hair was like literally sticking up.
Oh no.
And she had to go like get like hair treatment and all these things because it was like so dirty that with all the dust, and she couldn't clean it herself. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, there's like a thing about the people who go to, or a lot of the people that we've talked to at least that go to Burning Man. They're like very proud that they like survived this thing, and I just don't have that. I'm happy to not put myself in that position. I guess I don't feel the need to try and survive this thing. It's
Survive what though? Just the
the
dust
conditions,
storms
because there's
and
dust
the, like,
storms
it's
where
hot
like
and-
I guess there's like certain times where there's just like a crazy dust storm, and like you have to like put goggles on, and you have to have like there's
Oh,
like this whole
gosh.
thing you have to do that you like to
there's
in order to
equipment. You have to
survive.
take like
Yeah.
equipment out there.
Yeah, and you can't see and you can't breathe. You have to have like certain. It's like,
Why would you go?
I don't know. It's like, but there's incredible art and music, and there's this whole culture of people that like.
Oh,
I
okay.
mean, it's like a whole lifestyle.
In the name of art.
Yeah, in the name of
Okay.
art. So I mean, we've been tempted to go for sure because everyone we talk to is always just like saying it's life changing, it's incredible,
Really?
it's
It's
amazing.
like post-apocalyptic, like
What?
looking
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah,
But
like there's all
I
these
just-
people that like make those like amazing.
There's babies there
yeah,
too.
there's babies there.
The babies survive.
The baby survived.
What?
I
But
feel like
it's-
this is
What
the
is that cool
equivalent
thing?
of my dad saying. My dad always says like for like the haunted stuff, you know, like knots or anything. And he's like, "Why am I gonna get paid to get scared?"
Go pay these guys to fucking
Yeah.
give me a heart
Scare
attack.
me, yeah.
That's true. But it's pretty incredible. We got to enjoy like the culture of it that year, but not have to go there, which was cool because we got to just play the music. Because like in the app, they built the whole thing out virtually in an app, and so you would go into each camp on your phone, and like where we were playing, like you would go to that camp, and then there's like a screen in the app, and then you'd click on the screen, and then you would see us playing, like a live stream of us playing, and the band's playing. So it's kind of cool the way they set it up, but.
Yeah,
Apparently
and we
the-
pre-recorded one of the sets. I just remembered one of the
Yeah,
sets
one
was
we did
done live.
Yeah.
And then the other one, which was fucking hilarious, because the one that we pre-recorded, the guy forgot to hit record the first time.
Yeah.
Whoa.
So we did we were supposed to pre-record it before we did the live set, and then we at the end of the pre-recorded set, he goes like "fuck," he was like all stoned, the dude. And he's like, "I forgot to hit record," and we were like, "Oh fuck."
So we had to do it
then
again.
we did this set. And the live one, and then at the end, which ended up being, and we had to wait for other bands, so we ended up pre-recording our live set at like fucking like 3 a.m. or something like that.
Yeah. But it was fun. It was a cool experience.
It was a
for
blast.
sure.
It was.
And all the visuals and it's just all, it comes from all over the world, I think. And it's just incredible.
And
Well, the
it's here.
people get so into. I mean, it looks incredible. Yeah.
And it's here in California.
And then
That's cool.
some of the art, the pieces they
Yeah.
take to Venice after, and they do like the afterburn, and they do like a whole festival there. We've been to that a few times, and it's really cool. They'll take the pieces, but I think it started in San Francisco. We like
On that beach, right? I forget what
Yeah.
the beach is called.
I forgot what we just got to, but it just started as like this little party in the
Can you look
80s.
that up? What? How did the Burning Man start? Yeah. The Burning Man.
And it's just
I don't know.
like humongous.
Do they
now.
burn a man at
Yeah,
that
at the
festival?
They do, yeah.
They do.
On like the last day or whatever, they all or the night before or something like that. They all like
Burning Man.
and it's like supposed to be significant in the way of like letting go of all the things that you wanted to let go of that year and all that. Like some people like they like do the like New Year's resolutions thing where they like write it all down and then they like burn the piece of paper and supposedly it's like
Fancy.
yeah.
And they'll take-
1986.
People take things to burn there. Like they'll take like things they want to let go, and they'll like burn like.
Mm.
it's like a whole-
Explains the child there.
Yeah.
I had to. Burning Man was inaugurated in 1986 when Larry Harvey and Jerry James, two members of the San Francisco arts community, burned an 8-foot tall wooden effigy of a man on San Francisco's
Baker
Baker's
Beach, that's what it's called,
Baker
Baker Beach.
Beach, in celebration of the summer solstice. Oh, okay, summer solstice.
Yeah.
That's what, August 21st, right?
And it's always like the end of August, beginning of September. And they last year, or no, a couple years ago, when it was like kind of like at the end of COVID, and it was like, I mean, we're still in it, but like, when did they do the Rogue one? That was when we were moving to Austin, and we got invited to go to that, but we were like, we can't. 'Cause
Yeah, we were
just in the
gonna
middle of
go,
moving.
but then we were just like too tied up in the whole move thing.
And we're like, if we go and like get everything all crazy dusty and stuff, and then we're gonna try to move like the next day, like what? So, but it was a Rogue Burning Man where they weren't
Well, the
technically
timeline-
having it, but like people were just gonna go anyways, and so it was just kind of like they're like usually they have like a bunch of stuff there that's like regulated, and but everyone was just going on their own accord, and like just it's like pretty crazy. Like we heard some crazy stories about that, but just like there's just like the people that wanted to just go for it and do it, and like kind of crazy, but it's fun.
They usually have those experiences when like the first time I did acid was at Burning Man, right? Or I wonder if is there a culture like that at Coachella? Do you know? I've never been to Coachella at all.
I haven't either, and
No.
I haven't heard about. I know that they must camp there.
I'm sure.
Throughout the
I'm sure.
week.
I
Right.
feel like that's how Coachella started. I'm pretty sure is like it was actually not always fucking Coachella, like this big, huge thing.
Yeah.
It was like a little tiny festival that started with some people and stuff. So I'm sure it all started as like just parties in the desert, everyone tripping and looking at the stars and watching live bands.
Kind of like Austin City Limits was like the same idea, like when they had 2 weekends of like music, and then the week in between was kind of like, I think people just hang in and camp, or like there would be like hotels and stuff. But I think at Coachella they just like camp and hang out. It's just like a normal festival. I don't know if there's like a whole culture like wrapped around like Burning Man is like you're a burner, like that's like your like
It was like a lifestyle.
Really?
You're a burner. Yeah, it's like a whole thing. So
Is it different from a burnout? Or is it the same?
It's a fine line.
I don't know.
I'm trying to find the balance between being a burner and a burnout.
yeah. That's pretty crazy.
It's the same thing with EDC, right? EDC is probably a little bit different too, but that's like a lifestyle too. People are always
you
trying
went
to go
some
to
of the like
raves.
Like being a raver, that's a whole lifestyle. Like I went to when EDC was still in LA, and it was like pretty small, and I went to it back when I was in like high school, and it was like it's huge now. It's in like Las Vegas, this whole like insane thing, but it used to be. Yeah, I got to see it when it was a lot more.
They don't even have. Well, they're probably underground raves, but there's really no big raves in LA. Is there?
I remember the one that just passed.
Oh yeah. I can't remember. Something Line.
Yeah,
I mean, I went to Nocturnal in LA. That was, I don't know where they held that one now, but that one was getting pretty big.
Yeah, the ones they do in San Bernardino.
Yeah,
those are.
Well, that's San Bernardino. It's not LA.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
I'd rather go to almost get stabbed. Skyline. Yeah, there we go.
Skyline.
I'd rather almost get stabbed in Houston going to In-N-Out Burger than going to San Bernardino for a rave.
I haven't been to a rave in so long. When was the last time we went to a rave?
That Day of the Dead one, I think.
No, in San Francisco they had Breakfast of Champions.
Oh, yeah.
The day after New Year's Day. They have a lot of raves in San Francisco, I think.
Oh, really? That's where I got moved to.
The electronic music is like a little... I'm sure they have a bunch in LA. I don't know. You have to be in the scene. I guess we're not really in the scene anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
Juju, Matt, thanks for coming out and doing the podcast.
Yeah,
hey, thanks for having us. It was great to meet you both.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Go ahead and tell us where we can find Howler Honey and you guys' shows.
Yeah, type in Howler Honey to YouTube. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on TikTok and
Facebook, YouTube.
Yeah, we got a show coming up in June in the Valley. I forget the venue right now, but if you follow us on Instagram, you can keep up with that kind of stuff. We have a lot of content currently coming out right now, live and music videos and stuff like that. So stay tuned.
And we have all of our merch out on our website, and we have some new videos coming out pretty soon. So
I like that aesthetic.
Thank you. Yeah, the art
really nice.
We had was an artist that listened to our album, and that's what he
came up with.
Made up, the
wow.
art for our album. So
it was cool because we were telling him about the river in Austin, so that like you can kind of look. If you look at it for a second, you start to see like it was like Austin vibes there.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, thank you.
Sweet. You got anything else?
I don't know, man. Just stay in touch because we got. I mean, we do. We're working on all like new music all the time and all that kind of stuff, So,
okay.
Awesome.
Sweet. Do we have anything coming up, Amber?
We do actually. We are on May 13th. We are doing something for our community in the LA area. We invite anyone that's listening that may know, or if you're someone that needs it. We're offering free portraits for graduates. We know how expensive graduating is, so we want to do something for our community and for everybody out there. So if you know anybody that needs them or wants to come out,
come out.
The Mind Buzz Podcast.
Peace out. See you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.
Later.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for listening to the Mind Buzz podcast. Subscribe to the Mind Buzz YouTube channel and watch full podcast episodes. Keep up with the hosts, guests, and upcoming events by following the Mind Buzz on Instagram @the Mind Buzz. See you on the next one.